variables. In statistics, we call them I can't remember now. Oh, it's been a while.
These are your
So
discrete variables.
Variables, absolutely, discrete variables. So we've done all that. So then today we are going to look at much more. I forgot what our lecturer called it, but
Yeah.
thank
We'll be
God.
looking at strings and lists today.
Okay, strings and lists.
Yes.
So what about the game? Are you going to do the game?
The game is
It's
we're building the elements that are needed to build games. So games will come after this week. From Monday next
I
week,
want.
start discussing games.
I think we should just. I think this forum should build one game and we sell it. I need money.
Let's go one step at a time.
Let
By the
me.
end of this week, I don't want to rush people. I will give the foundation this week, and by Monday, all things being equal, we'll start building games.
This is my best.
Yeah, we'll put all the building
Thank you.
blocks
Okay,
there.
so I give the mic back to you, and then you allow it to do us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Almighty God be with all of us. I'm happy to be back with you to facilitate tonight's session on Python programming. Just like we've always done, this is going to be a practical session. So let me share my screen and then go to my demonstration screen on the other side. So I remain your instructor, Ibrahim Hamid. Feel free to raise your hand and ask any question at any point. Up till today, we have discussed things that are related to writing programs that are processing numbers, whether whole numbers or decimal numbers. But tonight, we would like to add more tools to our toolbox and see how you can handle text-based input. So I'll start with what I called list. Even that's the same way we call it in programming environment. So let me say list. I'll give us some story behind it, and then I'll start demonstrating how this works. So let's say you are trying to write a program to process results of students in a particular subject. Now, what you have been doing up to now is just to get the name of the student, and then you get the result, and that's it. You have no way of processing more than one student at a time or processing more than one subject at a time. And it's because you have been using one variable, just one memory location where things can be stored. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. What happens in real world scenario is you should be able to process multiple subjects and multiple students. That's the way your schools process your results, and not that the program will run for one subject and then it stops running. So today, I'll be showing us how you can use one variable to store multiple values, and it will look like a magic to you. Let me give you an example quickly. Before now, you could say first name, and you say input, and you come in here and say, what's your name? Prior to now, this is the way we were writing programs. And then this program will run, it will ask us for what is our name. And then we were printing it out saying, your name is, and then we went somewhere here and put first name. So if I run this program, this is a 2-line program. if I run this program, it will ask me for my name and it will tell me my name again, just like that. So if I run it, on the lower side here, you can see it saying, what's your name? I say I am Adewale. And it says, your name is Adewale. But there is no way I can ask that program. If I run it again, look at it, and it says your name, and I say Miriam. Now it says your name is Miriam. There is no Adewale again in that box called first name because Miriam has overwritten Adewale. So how can you go about writing a program that can remember Ibrahim or Adewale, can remember Miriam, and it can take more names and store all of them in that memory location called first name? And if you ask for any name, it will bring it out for you. That is what we want to go through tonight. That's one part of it. Then the second part of it is how do you handle text-based input in Python environment. So let me introduce you quickly with that theoretical framework into what we call list. When you want to create lists, this is what we do. We'll say, I am creating a list of first names, and it's going to be an empty list. Because I want first name, this name now, this variable. Remember, variable 2 is first names. There is an S at the end of it. It is different from first name. Okay, so this is singular and this is plural. So these two square brackets are indicating that what we want to produce is a bucket that can take multiple values at a time. Unlike before that, if we did not put this one here and we just did it like first name in line 4, that indicates a bucket that can take just one value at a time. So we want a bucket that can take multiple values. So I'll put a comment there and say, create a variable that can take multiple entries. Okay. So this square bracket gives it that opportunity. So the next time you now come in here and you say first name is what, and you indicate your first name, I'll go in there and say, even before that, let me comment this two out. We'll comment it out. Let us run our print. Print first names to us. Let's see what is in that first name variable. Nothing. It's just an empty bucket. Okay, you can see it on the lower side here. But when I want to start adding things to it, I can go in here and say, ask for the person's name. What's your name? They give you their name. Then you now say first names dot append first name. I'll tell you what this means. What you are doing is to say add first name to the bucket called first names. Some other people will say first name insert into this. And I'm putting it at point O. But I don't want that. Just say insert first name. And it will insert whatever name you give it into first name, or first names rather. So let's run this and check what happens. So we go with Adewale and it says, oh, insert expects 2 arguments. It got 1. Yeah, I knew that. Sorry. So my syntax should be Index first. Okay, so put it as 0.0 and then add Adewale to it. So what it is saying, I will demonstrate this to you. In this container, if you have A, B, C, D, E, F, for instance, as the elements that are there, the first position where you have A is numbered 0. It doesn't start counting from 1. It starts counting from 0. So the first element is at position 0. The second element is at position 1. The third element is at position 2, and so on and so forth. So once you understand that, I am now saying that please insert, in fact, I can block this element and say, just 1 minute. I'll come in here and say Adewale. I'll come in here and say insert another one in position 1. This time around, Miriam. Okay. Go in there, insert another one in position 2. Let me get another name here, IK. Go in here, insert another name in position 3. That's the fourth name. I will use Waris. Okay, so when it has inserted all these 4 names in the sequence that I have given, then I can display all the names in this variable called first names. And you can see that first name is a list of strings. These are the strings or the text that we have put in. So if we run this, we'll check it out. It tells me string first names contain Adewale, Miriam, Ike, and Waris in that sequence that we have indicated. Now, if I want to switch the sequence, look at this. I can go in here now and say, put first another name in position 0, even though Adewale is there now. I want to override that, so I'll put read 1 in position 0. So what it means is that you already had the queue with Adewale in front, followed by Miriam, followed by Ike, followed by Waris. And then Ridwan comes, is the son of the school proprietor or proprietress, as the case may be. He goes to the front of the queue to go and stand there, and we all move back 1 step each. That's why I have put him in position 0 now. So all of us will be adjusted automatically by 1 level by this action here. This action on row 11 will shift our own position by 1. So Adewale will go to 1, Miriam will go to 2, Ike will go to 3, Waris will go to 4. Then Ridwan will go to the front, just like we have seen the list here. So I will show you the original list and then the new one. So copy this, paste it here. So when we run this, check what happens. When there was no read 1, Adewale was in front, followed by Miriam, followed by Ike, followed by Waris, and you see the result here. Then while read 1 came from nowhere, even though we know where it came from. So it came from somewhere, and then it decided to go to position 0, which is the first position in this queue. So when I put his name there as read 1, it pushes everybody back 1 step in the queue. And that's what this element is doing here. So when you are inserting element into a queue, you must indicate the position where you are inserting it, and you must indicate what you are inserting into the list. So first name here has been declared as a list, and we have inserted 5 different object into that list, and we can display the result in this format. Now, I haven't seen this. You have seen how we can add or remove elements. Sorry, add to add. Now, there is another way I can go about doing addition of entries without using the insert approach. I can say first names dot append. And if I want to append something, let me look for another name here. I'll say Ihsan. Okay. There are two of them behind that device. I'll put Ilham. All right. And I'll go back here and say print, not appendo. I want to print this time around. I'll show you what this statement does quickly. Now, we have a list of 5 names. Ridwan is the first one. And then these other names on rows 6 to 9 follow Ridwan. And now I want to append. What does append mean? It means go to the end of the queue and then add something there. So I go to the end of the queue, which in this case is where Wariz is. And then Ihsan is going to queue behind Wariz, and Ilham will queue behind Ihsan. That's what these 2 lines are doing. So I can put a comment here to say these names go to the end of the list. Okay. They go to the end of the list. And then for these ones, these names go to the spot indicated in the commands. Okay. So you go to the position that has been indicated in the command. So if we run this code, you will see that initially we had Adewale, Miriam, Ike, and Wariz. Then Ridwan came and took that front spot and shifted everybody back a spot each. We didn't have a problem with that. Then the Onawales came, and then we put them at the back. And that's why Ihsan and Ilham are here. So we now have an updated list that has 3 extra names, Ridwan, Ihsan, and Ilham, and we have put them at 3 different locations. We put Ridwan in front, and we put Ihsan and Ilham at the back of the list or at the back of the queue. And if anybody is asking me from this explanation, what is the position of any of these names, I can write a program to indicate the position of any name. Or if they are asking me, who is at spot what? Oh, spot 1, spot 2, or spot 3, we can write a program to extract who is there. Or if they are asking us, who are those people from spot X to spot Y, we can write simple Python code that can process the list and show us the result. So let's start playing around with this. For instance, I can say print, and I'll say the first name in the list is, and I'll put this. I'll come in here and say, don't put this on, and say format, format first names, and then it ends here. Please pay attention to this code. What I've written here is similar to what you are familiar with. I can change it to this format that you are most comfortable with. So I'll just come in here and say remove format, and then go to the back, put this, and then change this to comma. Yes, you're familiar with this. So what I have written here is to say, give us a statement with this construct. The first name in the list is, then go to that bucket of first names and show me the one at position 0. So that is what this one is doing. Position 0 is where you see the first name. If you want to see the last name in the queue or in this list, I'll come in here strangely. I'll say the last name in the list is, I'll go here and put -1. That's a way of saying go to the end of the list and then start counting backward. So move one step from the end towards the beginning. That's why we're saying -1. So if you want to see second to the last name, this they call it the penultimate name in the list is going to be -2. That's second to the last name. So let's test all these things that we have written to check if they are working. I'm sure they will work. Our final list is the one that has Ridwan, Adewale, Miriam, Ike, Waris, Ihsan, and Ilham. So we were checking. The first name in that list is that of Ridwan. And it says the first name in the list is Ridwan. And the last name from physical inspection here is Ilham. And the program got it correctly. The last name in the list is Ilham. And the penultimate name, the second to the last name, if you check, this is the last and then this is second to the last, it's Ihsan. And the program got it right. So I used -1 for the last. I used -2 for the second to the last. And if anybody wants to know the second name in the list, can someone tell me what I will write here? Can someone?
1.
Beautiful. I will put 1. That is amazing. And that is going to be the name of Adewale.
Add 1.
Correct. So I have added 1 to it, and you can see it shows me the first name in the list is Ridwan. That is true when you check. And then the second name in the list is Adewale. That is true. The last name is Ilham. That's correct. And the second to the last name in the list is Ihsan. That's also correct. So this is a way you can display different names based on their position. However, let me play a trick on you now. What if you want to yeah, hello. Yeah, apologies, I'm back. I think my connection flipped. All right. So please confirm that you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So I now want to do something here, like a small magic. I want to show names of students from from the second spot to the end of the row. Yeah, I'll say names. I'll say name from position 2 to the end of the list. How do I do that? I want to display this. Look at what I'll do. I'll come in here and say position 2 is known to be 1. We know it is position 2. I'll now put colon after it. So that is like from position 2 to wherever it wants. if we run this, let's hope and pray that it works. It is working, because when you check the list, this is the list we have: Redwan, Adewale, Miriam, IK, Waris, Isan, and Ilham. Position 2 is Adewale. I'm sorry, I don't know why my phone is misbehaving tonight. I'm back here. All right, so this is my screen again. So position 2 is held by Adewale, and it starts. So when you are looking at it from here, you see that is the starting position, and I move all the way to the end. That's what this line 28 of our code is doing. Okay, it says start from position 2 and go all the way to the end. What about if I want to do position 2 to position 5? I'll copy this. I'll paste this, and I will adjust it and say, I want to go to position 5. So I'll come in here. But I'll call your attention to something here when it runs. It gives me the result. It starts counting from 2, 3, 4, and I can see Wari's name here. We have left out Isan and Ilham. Okay, that is possible because I've put 1 through 5. And when you look at the list, original list had 0 for Ridwan, 1 for Adewale, 2 for Miriam, 3 for IK, 4 for Waris, 5 for Ihsan. But when this one is working, it did not display Ihsan. So what 5 is doing here is to say everything up to but not including element 5. That's why I'm so sorry. My connection is messing up tonight. I'm back on my main link. Yeah, so I was explaining something to us on this 5, why Ihsan's name isn't coming up in the result. So the figure that you see here is not going to be displayed. The element at that spot will not be displayed. So let me look at the original list. Let's try to cook it out. I'll copy the list here. I'll say copy this, and then I'll just kind of print it out here. Yeah, good. So when you give numbers to them, this is the guy at number 0. This is the one at number 1. That's the second element. This is the one at number 2. That's the third element. This is the one at number 3. It's the fourth element. This is the guy at number 4. It's the fifth element. This is the guy at number 5. It's the sixth element. And this is the guy at number 6. It's the seventh element. There are 7 names, but their numbers will be 0 through 6. So if your target is to show element from 2 to the 5th one, like I wanted to see Adewale, Miriam, Ike, Waris, I will not say 4. I won't put 4 as my limit here. If I put 4, it will end at this one. This is the only point of note here. If you put 4 there, it will stop at this element 3, which is not what you want. If you want Waris to show, then you put 5, because it's the 5th element. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. But if you don't put 5 here and you go and put 4, then it will end at element 4, which is this one. If you want Ihsan's name to come out, is element number element number 6. So we'll put 6 in here and that name will come out. So if I put 6 in this code, but to the 6th element in the list. Yeah, I can run this again and it will give me my result. So you can see that this time around, I am displaying a sans name, unlike before that it ended at Waris. So let me summarize what I have done so far tonight. I have shown us how to create a simple variable called first name. You can call it anything. This first name can contain multiple values, and that's why I put these 2 square brackets there. So any variable that can take multiple values at a time is called a list variable. And then the first task after that was to add Adewale to position 0. Then Miriam into position 1, IK into position 2, Waris into position 3. So these are 4 names. And they will start from 0, 1, 2, 3. And we displayed the result. After that, we added Ridwan to the front of that list, and it displaced all these names by 1 spot. So they all moved back to position 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we appended, using this option, these 2 names. Append is a way of saying go to the end of the list and then add something there. And that's how we were able to get this new list that has all these names, this list here. And then we were trying to play around with how do we identify the elements in the list based on their position. So I said in line 24, the first element in that list is going to have a spot of 0. So you write the name of the variable, put square bracket in front of it and say 0. And it will show you the first element. And then you can get the second element by pushing 1. You can get the last element by putting -1. You can get the second to the last element by putting -2. And then I showed us how we can say from element 2 to the end. How can we do that? And the same way you did that, you could have done something very weird, like copy this, paste it, and say from the last element, names from the last, okay, don't let me say last element. Let me say 3rd element from the end, names from the from the start to the 3rd element from the end of the list, something like this. So this is a way of saying start from the beginning, but when you get to the 3rd element from the end, stop displaying the names. And we can check how that one works. Then this line 33 is showing us from position 2 to the 6th element in the list. So let's check that number 30. I'm curious to see what it's going to show me. Yeah, beautiful. So look at the list. Ridwan, Adewale, Miriam, IK, Waris, Ihsan, and Ilham. And I'm saying 3rd from the beginning to the 3rd from the last. So 3rd from the last is going to be Waris, if I get this name correct. Okay. It displays it at this one. Okay. So this should have been -2 then. Yeah, it should have been -2 because I want it to end at Waris, correct. So it starts from the beginning, Ridwan, Adewale, Miriam, IK, then it stops at Waris. So you can see it here. So you can play around with the numbers in the square boxes and you see the kind of result that you are likely going to get. So this is a way of knowing names based on their position. What about situation where I give you the name and I'm asking you to tell me the position of that name? You know, this is the reverse now. The first time you were given the position 0, and I'm asking you to show me the name. How about if I give you the name and I'm asking you to show me the position? How do we go about doing that? Let me flip it into this other one. Copy. Okay. So give me a name. Let me pick Miriam. Okay. I'll say the position of Miriam in the list is, please help us mute that user. Okay. So this is going to be dot index, and I'll put Miriam. It will be in quote. Yeah. And then there is another bracket here. The position, it should be, of Miriam in the list is, I am saying, look at the variable, the bucket that has all the names, and I'm saying, go and look for Miriam in it. Search through that bucket. Wherever you find Miriam, tell me the position. That's what this index does for us. We know the result should be position 2, okay, because Miriam is in 0, 1, 2. When you look at this final list here, 0, 1, 2. So if we run it, it should tell us that the position of Miriam in the list is 2. And that is correct because that is where it can be found. Okay. Now let's try to look for a name that is not in this list. I can even cut it and say, this is the group first set of command, and then the next group of command will be this. So let's say Tinubu is put in here. I know Tinubu is not in that list. So we are coming in here to say, what is the position of Tinubu in our list? The result should be -1. It will tell me Tinubu is not in the list. Tinubu is not in the list, and that's why it's showing an error. In fact, someone else may just go in here and say find. Does it use find? No. Okay. Index. Index is the correct one. Yeah. So Tinubu is not in the list, and that's why we are getting this error message. So that could be a way of letting you know that something is not square, or one element is not in the list that you're expecting. But if the element is in the list, you will find a number being returned to you, just like Miriam came out as position 2. I can add another name and say IK is in position what? Yeah. The spelling must be correct. And then it tells me IK is in position 3 because it's the one directly after Miriam in our list. When you go up here, you can see. So that's a way of reversing what was done. The first thing we did was to say, give us names at certain positions. Then later we started saying, give us the positions of names if you give the name correctly. The next element I need you to watch out for is the same way you can add elements to the list, you can equally remove elements from the list, and you'll see how to do that now. Now, remember our final list. Let me print it out. Our final list is first names. So let's look at the list all over. It says our final list is Ridwan, Adewale, Miriam, Ike, Waris, Ihsan, and Ilham. If I want to start removing names from that list, what will I do? So these are the commands to be written. How to remove names from the end of the list. That's one option. The second option is how to remove names from specific positions. Okay. So let's go about doing the two. So if I want to remove name from the end of the list, I'll just print the name of the list and I'll say pop. Pop. You say pop. What pop does is it goes to the end of your list and it will remove the name that is there. So in this case, it's going to be Ilham's name that is going to be removed. And when it is removed, the new list will show us everything ending with Ihsan. So let's check it. Okay, so you can see that it has popped Ilham off the list. That is the name that is removed. Then show us the updated list. It should not have Ilham anymore. This name has been removed, and then the last name is now Ihsan. So if I pop twice, it will remove the last two names. If I pop 3 times, it will remove the last 3 names. It will always go to the end of the queue to remove whichever element is the last one there. But because I popped once, it removed just Ilham, and that's why we have this list. I'm not going to remove any of you again, at least from that family, so you won't fight me. Now, let's show how we can remove names from a specific position rather than just going to the end and saying, hey, you are the last person here, leave the list. What about if you want to go to a specific spot in the queue and remove? This is what you do. You say first name dot remove. This time around, I want to remove Adewale. At least that's my own entry. And then I can say print first name all over. So when we run this, you won't see Adewale in the queue anymore because I have removed that particular entry. Okay, this is not the comment. I'm sorry for that. Let me copy this. To remove specific, it should be specific elements. How to remove specific elements. Okay. The second example is coming. Not from, it should be this. This is the correct spelling. Yeah. So if you indicate Adewale here, it will remove it from that list and you can see the result here. I don't have my name in that list anymore. But if you really want to choose the spot instead of just saying Adewale, if you want to choose the spot where the removal is going to be done, let me see, it should be yeah, it should be, I think it should be this. Just one moment. I'm checking through the remove. Okay, it doesn't have this here. What about, it doesn't have that element that I'm looking for. So I'll check that and then get back to you. But it should be possible for me to state the position where I want to remove, and then the removal should be possible. Now, how about if you want to sort the elements in the list. You have given us names, and we love the names, but we want to sort them. You just come in here and say sort. And this sort is going to arrange the elements in alphabetical order. So if you look at the list, it tells me that, oh, even though the final list is Redwan, Miriam, IK, Waris, and Ihsan, if I arrange this alphabetically, which is what sort is doing, then Ihsan will go first, IK will go next, Miriam will go next, Redwan will go next, and Waris goes to the end because his name starts with W. So this is a way of sorting elements in Python environment. And if I want to do one more thing, if I want to reverse the list, I'll come in here and say reverse. Reversing is a way of saying, look at this original queue that we have here. I want everything to be flipped like minus 180 degrees. What that means is that the first person goes to the end, the second person, Miriam, goes to where Waris is, AK stays where it is, Waris comes to Miriam's position. So it's like you are flipping it like a mirror image of the result. So that is a way of reversing the list. It's not the same as sorting the list. Let's check this out and see the way it works. Yes. So you can see Redwan is first here, and then our final list looks like, let me see, where's the final list before sorting? This is it here. Yeah. So when we reverse it, you see what has happened. Waris that was at the back is now in front. Ihsan that was in front has now gone to the back. Miriam that was in the middle stays in the middle. AK that was number 2 now goes to number 4.
Sir, sorry for the interruption.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I don't know whether it is network, but what you have been saying, I can't see it through here.
Ah, so that is the network. So what you would do is you would disconnect and connect again, and you will be able to see my screen. If you can't see it, just let me know. So
Okay, sir.
disconnect now and connect back. I will wait for you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, mommy. So let's just give it a minute to do that, and then I'll summarize what I have done in this environment.
I'm with you, sir.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. Clear. This is clear. 7. All right. So we were talking about reversing. So reversing is very easy. Let's demonstrate with the full list that we had at the beginning. I'm taking this code away from here. I go back to where all those names appeared, and then you put this code here, and you will see, I'll put a message here and say, here are the names in reverse order. Okay. Yes. Here are the names in reverse order. I think I should be able to get it. Yeah. Right, so let's check. So, it says none. So how do we do that? We can fix it by saying, copy this and say, first name is equal to this, and then put first names here. Yeah. There's an error somewhere. Line, what is that? Line 29. First item in the list is, it doesn't know that there is a first item in the list. Okay, don't worry, we'll clean all of this. Or maybe I should just go back to the end of the road where I came from, so I don't tamper with this code. And then I'll put my code here, jejely. Yes. Here are the names in the reverse order. It says it doesn't have any name. No, that's not possible. That's not possible because if I am reversing these entries, I should be able to reverse the names. Let me use something else. Let me use X and then print X here. Wow, something is wrong. I'll check this and then get back to you. Now, if I want to find how many items are in the list, how many names are in that list, what I would do is to say, go in here. This list contains, we want to say 7 elements. Okay. Names. So you would come in here and say format, no? What's wrong with me tonight? Let me go back to the beginning. This list contains the length of first names. Yeah, this is what I have in mind. So let me see what is going to come out. Yeah, it says this list contains 5 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's correct. Okay. And if you want to remove all the elements in the list, just say first names dot clear. Yeah. And if you print first name from here, you won't find anything there anymore because it should be blank. So you can see it is blank. So let me do a quick revision of what we have done because we've covered a lot of ground. The first thing we started with was to describe how you can use a single variable to act as a container in which you put so many things. So let's liken this to our refrigerator at home, where we can keep different things in different compartments. So the refrigerator is there. In fact, I can put up my PowerPoint slide quickly to illustrate that for you. Just 1 minute. Okay, so on this screen, let me insert a new slide. I need it to be blank. Remove this one. Remove this. All right, so let me present with that because you need to understand this. Yeah, good. So let's assume that your array or your list will be like this. Okay, so you put different compartments inside. So whatever is in compartment 1 will have a number of 0. Whatever is in compartment 2 will have number 1. Whatever is in compartment 3 will be given 2, and it will keep going like that till it gets to the last element. This last element is given -1 as its own position. It's the last item there. So when you use insert command and you get the element, you are adding it into this slot. When you use the insert for position 1, you are adding the element here, and so on and so forth. But when you use append, we are adding to the end of the list. You understand? So insert gives you the ability to insert into a specific position. Append allows you to go to the end to add something new. When you use pop, you are saying go to the end and remove one element from there. That is one line of pop. If I pop again, it goes to the end of the list and removes whatever is there. If I use pop command the next time, it will go. So it can be popping the same way you burst balloon. That's the way to be doing pop, pop, pop. So it's removing the element from the back, but it will be doing it one by one. But if you want to remove all the element once, you don't have to pop. Just clear the list and all the elements will disappear at once. That is the intuition behind it. Then one thing that we also did, which is quite nice, is if you want to extract element from a given position through another spot, you can do an extraction, and it works in a very simple manner. So let's go back to the code and revise how those lines were written so that it won't look like magic to us when we are watching the videos. So I go back to my code, summer coding. I'll say the box that I showed you just now with multiple compartments, this is it. This is the way you create it in the memory of the computer. And the compartments are limitless, at least at your level. Let's say they are limitless. So you can put so many things there. They don't even have to be similar. Just like we can put fish, meat, fruit, drinks in our refrigerator. So they don't have to be similar. The only thing is, in our case, we have been putting similar things like names in there. And we'll do an example that does not look similar. And I will give you an exercise that contains similar elements. So after creating our refrigerator here called first names, which can contain multiple things, then we now said, go to compartment 0, insert Adewale there. Go to compartment 1, insert Miriam, and up to Waris. Then we showed what is in our refrigerator, and it will give us those 4 names in that sequence. Then we came in on line 14 and said, hang on, we now have Ridwan joining our class. We want him to go to the front of the class and move every other person one step backward. And that's what we mean by inserting Ridwan into position 0. Remember, Adewale was in 0. So Ridwan will now go and replace him. Adewale will replace Miriam. Miriam will replace Ake. Ake will replace Waris. Waris will move into an empty seat that was not occupied prior to now. Now we have 5 names, and that's what we are displaying in line 16. Then we said, okay, we have 2 new students. I don't want them to go to the front of the class. Let them just go to the back and sit. And that's what we did with the append statement. So it appended Ihsan and Ilham to the list, and that's why those two go to the back. When you print this name again, you will see there are two names will be at the back. And that's the way you can add elements. But when you want to start displaying elements, let's show this. This section shows how to display elements in certain positions. Yes, display, not display. Yeah. So this section shows how you can display elements in certain positions. So, and I put position 0, it will show you the first element. Position 1, it will show you the second element. Position -1, it will show you the last element. Position -2 will show you the second to the last element. Then we played around and said, okay, that sounds nice. How about if we want to do substring? These are to display substring based on certain positions. So this first example is saying from the second position to the end of the list. Okay. The second example on line 32 is saying, give me everything from the beginning up to the second to the last item, but not including that second to the last item. And then we showed multiple examples, so I don't even need this list here. Okay. Then we equally played with, okay, now you know the position. How about if you want to find, okay, you can find element based on their position. This time around, we want to display elements positions. We want to show where are those elements in our list. We know their names, but we want to know where they are. What are they in spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, or spot N? We will use index as a way of, carrying that out. And this is pop for removing the last item in the list. And then you can use remove to remove a specific element. And you can use sort to rearrange the element. And you can use reverse to also turn things around. And you can check the length, which is to say how many elements are in that list. Length of that variable will show you that. And I showed us how you can use clear to remove this. So this is the general principle. I need to now give you like a basic demo, which you will help me solve in my exercise 22. So prepare your mind. Example 022. I need you to write a program for me that will be able to add 5 fruits to a list of fruits and display those fruits to the user. So I'll call the variable fruit. I have helped you. This is how far I can go. So tell me, how do I go about the rest? I'll also help you to do this and say our fruits are, yeah. So if I run this now, there is nothing in the fruit list. Nothing. Our fruits are, it's an empty basket. So can someone tell me, add fruits? How do I go about adding fruits? Please help me. Yeah, Abdullah. Anybody? It's simple. Please just think about it. You can say it in English.
First, write your fruit.
Okay.
Then you put insert.
Okay. So you want me to say fruit dot insert. Okay. What's next? Let me help you. Position 0. And you say orange. Okay. So this is the first element that we have added to the list. Position 0, comma, then orange. How will I do the next one? If I want to add the next,
You
this should
put
be
the
easier.
same insert and then you put position 1
Okay.
and you put the name of the fruit.
So which fruit do you want me to put there?
Apple.
Okay. So that will show me. Okay, so let's check. Let's check our list so far. It tells us our fruits are orange and then apple, because those are the two elements that we have added to the list. So that's one method. Add fruits at specific positions. How about if we want to just add fruits at the end?
You use append.
Okay. So if I say append, I can now append what? Purple. Okay. I can say fruit dot append. What else? Grape.
Banana.
Yeah. Okay. So we can say fruit dot append banana. And then when you display your result, you will find your list growing: orange, apple, purple, grape, banana. This is a list of fruits, and then you display the result like this. If you want to clear it, say, I don't want to see all the results again. So you say, remove all the items. Okay, this will be fruit dot clear. Then you say display current status. Status. So that will be print fruits. There shouldn't be anything in that list. Yeah, and that's why it is empty, because we have cleared the items. So this is a very simple way in which you can add multiple items to a single variable and you can play around with it. Now, people may be wondering, why would this be very necessary in programming? It's necessary because we will be dealing with situations where you need to do some things repeatedly. Let me show you a demo of what I mean here. This is your simple example. It works. Let's say you are trying to process transaction. Remember, we wrote a program that can accept a product, it will get the unit price and it will get the quantity, and then it can calculate the amount for you. And I said it was only working for one program, not multiple programs. So how can you go about running it for multiple programs? So look at this example 23. Example 0 to 3. I don't expect you to master this, but just check it. So I can say products. We will get to you mastering it. I can say product. I can even add all the elements there. Okay, say product dot append put red. Okay. Products dot append, put milk. Okay. And then product dot append, put egg. Okay, so we have a list of products. Look at my spelling. Okay, we have a list of products. Someone can come in here and say, a product in products.
Sir, you're not seeing your screen.
Abdullah, then you need to reconnect again because others can see my screen. Okay. Input. How many units of do you want? This time around it to be products. Now, please watch this. When you run this code, it says there's an argument that is wrong. Let me check where is the error. Error is input expected at most one argument. It got 2. Okay. So where is that coming from? This is my message. Sorry. F should be here. And then this should be here. Should be one argument. I'm so sorry. All right. So when I run this, look at what it says. How many units of bread do you want? It goes into...
Sir.
Yes. Abdullah, can you see me now? Can you see the screen? No, you need to confirm. So you can see now that it goes into my list of products, which are bread, milk, egg, and it picked the first element there to say, check for all the products in that list and bring them out one by one. So it's bringing bread the first time because that's the first element there. If I say I want 12 and I press enter, the next time it will ask me about milk. How many units of milk do you want? I want 90. The next time it will ask me about egg. And I say, oh, I don't want too much, 2. And then the program ends. So instead of writing input the quantity of egg, input the quantity of milk, input the quantity of bread 3 times, I am using the single statement to loop through, to cycle through a long list of elements that you may have here. But I don't expect you to master this. I just want you to know that we will be using lists to build or to strengthen the program that we have started, prior to now. So your list works in a very simple way. It can create a variable that can take multiple objects, and you can add many objects into it. In fact, let me do something here and say, you help me. You want to build a football team. So let's say football team. Can you give me the list of all your players? Print football team. No, it's football. Yep. So how do I put the players there? You say football dot append. You can copy this and paste it 10 times because you know there will be 11 players in the football team. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm there yet. I'll check. All right. So You can go in and start saying, Peter Cech. I'll use the old Chelsea team that I know. Ivanovic, Branislav. You can put anybody you want there. Then this one was Ashley Cole, John Terry, Ricardo Carvalho, Michael Essen, Michael Ballack, Frank Lampard, Arjen Robben, Damien Duff, Didier Drogba. And then that's it. And when you run this, it will give you a very simple list and you see all the players there. So you can create a list and say it's a list of my subjects. And then you can add subjects. And it will be, we want to remove this and say name reference. Okay, so this one should be subject, 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 subject. We can just keep it this simple.
Why am I screening?
Okay, and here I'll put subject. And you cannot have Peter Cech as a subject. So you can have mathematics. You can have...
Professor, I'm not saying it.
You may need to reconnect and connect again. And then here I'll put chemistry for those who love it. And I can put agric for those who love it. You can also use your list like this. And when you print it out, it will display the list of the subjects. Please give me a second. All right, I'm back. So that's my story for today. I'm going to share the recording of this session. Apologies for the way internet was messing up at the beginning. I'll share the recording and I'll equally share a link to a YouTube video that you can watch that will demonstrate this concept further to you. Where is this guy? I'm looking for, there's a particular user who has not been seeing my screen. Okay, why is the list always in horizontal form? That's a question from Abdullah. Okay, when it is displaying it to you like this is the way it comes out. But if you want it to come out in a vertical format, there is a way I can do it for you. And I'll do that right away, just to answer your question. So I can say for subjects in subjects, okay? Subject, for every subject in the list of subjects, I want you to print, yeah. And this one will print it in a vertical format for you. So you can see mathematics, English, chemistry, and agric. The reason why I didn't introduce this concept yet is because it's meant to be discussed on Thursday. Okay. It's because this element of 4 is is going to be discussed on Thursday or Friday, so I don't want to bring that up yet. Then Ikeolua is asking here, does the list always have to start from 0? Yes, always. In fact, virtually all elements will start from 0, not just list. Even when you start talking about strings tomorrow, strings will also start from 0. And let me give you an example of what I mean. If you say first name is equal to input first name, okay? And someone supplies a first name to you, you can print the first name. You can also print some parts of the first name. So let me say I'm printing the first letter there. Okay. So let's run this. Your name is Ikeolua. So when this program runs, it will show me Ikeolua as your name because that's the input I have indicated. And I'm also saying, show me the first element in Ikeolua. If I put 1 there, it will show K, but I want I to show. That's why I put 0. And when I press enter, aha. So it says Ikeolua is the first name. That's it here. But the first element in that name is element 0, and it is I. So it follows the same logic. I hope that's clear for you, Ike. All right. Any other question from anyone? Our Zoom user is asking, is there a way to catch up on the previous missed classes? The answer is yes. Drop your phone number in the chat box. I will add you to the WhatsApp list for this, team. And then I normally put updated videos in a Google Drive. So you will have access to all the previous recording. And I will equally drop some general videos on YouTube that you can watch to catch up so that you won't, be lost when we are discussing anything in class. All right. It would be nice to put your name there so I won't save your name as Zoom user in the, you can send it to me privately. Yeah. Any other question from anyone? I didn't see Emisi and Co tonight. I don't know what's wrong. I'll reach out to them and find out. All right. In the absence of that, I think my job is done for tonight. Apologies for the mix-up at the beginning. We'll meet again by God's grace tomorrow evening to build on this. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, our prof. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we'll catch up again tomorrow by the grace of God. Thank you.
All right. So I need to know who is Zoom user so that I can add the name appropriately.